Welcome back to the Bible Reading Project. It is Monday, all week long, talking about one subject and one subject only. No, it's not COVID, it's not Ukraine, it's not monkeypox. It is fear. We're going to be talking all week long about the subject of fear, how it relates to life choices, anxiety, being overwhelmed, and it plays out in every realm of life. Fear as it touches your personal life, your health, your future, your decisions, your marriage, your relationships, especially your children, the future of what's awaiting me. Hang out with me all week long. I'm going to help you. You may not know this about me, but it is a truth for sure. And those who know me know this well. Here it is. For 20 plus years, I lived in total fear. Fear that would result in panic attacks, fear that drove my contentment. I could not enjoy certain things because of fear. There was always this looming thought of what could happen, what might happen, even though I had this longevity of nothing ever happening, but it kept me in this cycle. If you talk to Robin and ask her, it would at times be pretty debilitating. For this reason, I was in ministry, would need to go to the hospital and pray for people, could not do it. I would have panic attacks as soon as I would get to the front door of the hospital. I wouldn't be able to walk through the lobby. I would get on the elevator, hearts racing, thoughts are racing, just miserable, literally miserable, not faking that one at all. I could not watch anything on TV about death, about emergencies, hospitals, diseases that they didn't just overwhelm my life. So I want to help you. I found freedom. Thank you, Jesus. And I want to share it with you. It's not a magic pill. There's nothing magic to overcoming fear. We're born into a world where fear is pretty much at everything, even sometimes the way we're raised. Don't get too close to that edge. Don't step in. Don't jump in that water. Don't. So there's a lot that even is built into our psyche of don't run out in the street. Look both ways. You could get run over. And here we sit as adults, and especially today, where everything in the news, everything in your life is fear-based. That's how they sell. I talked to someone who worked at CNN, and his exact words, he was part of the news at CNN. His exact words to me were very simple. He said, fear sells ads. So they need money. So what sells ads? Well, it's not grandmama helping somebody across the street or vice versa. Fear sells commercial ads, and ads are money. And so fear sells, fear works, fear controls people. Fear keeps you locked into a system of control. And I want to break you free of that this week. And my prayer for you is that by Friday, you will find your freedom and never live in fear again. Psalm 55, and then I'll give you my first point of fear today and how I hope it can get you started on a journey to find some freedom. Psalm 55, verses 1 through 6. Listen to my prayer, God, and don't ignore my cry for help. Please listen and answer me, for I'm overwhelmed by my troubles. My enemies shout and are making loud threats at me. They bring trouble on me and are angrily hunting me down. My heart pounds in my chest. Terror of death assaults me. Fear and trembling overwhelm me. I cannot stop shaking. Oh, that I had wings like a dove, that I would fly away and rest. What a beautiful end to that thought of this miserable, I'm overwhelmed, I'm tormented. I feel like he's probably full on panic attack. My heart is beating in my chest. I feel like everything is against me. I feel like God may be ignoring me. Nothing is working. And then he prays this, a beautiful prayer, but I know what it feels like to pray this prayer. If I just had wings that I could fly away and find rest. I'm not saying that, he was suicidal here, but I am saying I know the torment of fear can make you just despair of even being alive. The torment of fear can make you not even want to get up to start your day. So go back to how it all started for me. It's strange. I wrote a book about it. If you want it, I will put the link in the bio. You can buy it on Amazon and or Kindle. It's there. Wrote a book about how God freed me from it. And I just take you through step by step, called Fireflies on the Bedpost. A lot of my friends have read it, but if you've never read it, I definitely encourage you to do that. And it'll give you details on how to get free. I was 10 years old, and I watched a TV show called Death Be Not Proud. It wasn't a show, it was a movie with Robbie Benson called Death Be Not Proud. In that movie, Robbie Benson, the boy in the movie, got a brain tumor. I grew up that Disney World mentality. Everybody wins. It's always a happy ending. They lived happily ever after. This movie ended quite differently. This movie ended with him dying, the boy dying of a brain tumor. No big deal. It's just a movie, right? I'm just a 10-year-old kid watching a movie. But the movie I watched didn't have the ending I wanted, and it put a seed in my mind that began to drip. I call it the little drip. It was the thought that just went over and over, and this is how silly it is, but how debilitating it is. Because oftentimes we hear someone else's fear and go, that's just silly, why are you afraid of that? Well, to the people on the outside, fear does seem a silly thing, but to those that carry the fear, it's very debilitating. Here was the thought. If Robbie could die, Robbie Benson in the movie, if he could die as a kid with a brain tumor, so could I. That was the thought. Who would have ever thought that I would have taken a Hollywood movie and brought it into my own reality? But as a 10-year-old kid, I did. I never went to counseling for it. I just recall all the time filling my head. And my mother even said to me one time, I was in the back seat of the car, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just filling my head." She said, "Why do you keep doing that?" And I said, "Well, in case I have a brain tumor." She laughed. She said, "Honey, you don't have a brain tumor." And the day went on. For her, it was nothing more than a "honey, you don't have a brain tumor." But for me, it followed me all the way into my life from 1975 to 1995. So in 1995, July 31st, 8:20 p.m., 1995, this thing that had started out with a little drip had become a full-on terrible mess in my life. I was married to Robin by then. I lived with panic all the time, fear all the time. We had had 2 children by this time in 1995, and I'm just tormented. I'm tormented every night. Is one of our children going to die? Well, what if Robin dies in a car wreck? What if I die? And so I want to start with this, that typically fear is the result of a seed or a drip that is started in your thought life. And the sad thing about it is the only time I could turn the drip off, at least in my thinking, was when I would go to bed. So I'd lay down and it would start, and I would be tormented. Like I didn't even want to go to sleep, but I knew if I could go to sleep, it would be the only time that the thought would not bother me. So I would lay in bed. I would try my best not to have what if. My heart would start racing. What if I die? Robin would come home late from a meeting. What if she's dead? Just disease. What if I have a disease? I checked every bump, every knot, every freckle. What if it's cancer? What if I have a tumor? Sad, right? Well, again, to those on the outside, it's sad. You're like, man, you got to get over it. But when the drip in your mind becomes part of your reality, it's not as easy just to say, I want to get over this. I had to find a way of freedom to get out. I'll teach you that this week. But listen to what he says, because I found myself thinking that my only freedom was just to sleep. If I could go to sleep, because as soon as I would wake up, I'd think, all right, I'm awake, and then the thought would hit. No matter what I was doing, the thought would come. Then it just kept being this battle of my thoughts. Here's what I found out about fear, and it really helped me, and it helped me start my journey to freedom. We were riding down the road, we being Robin and I, we were riding down the road in Johnson City, Tennessee. We were on Highway 181. And I was telling her that I was just tormented and I was fearful and I was anxious. And then she said something that really struck a nerve with me, but it also shook me awake. She said, "Honey, if the devil could have killed you by now, you'd be dead." And as rude as that may have seemed on the surface, it was the It was the push that I needed that, well, what am I afraid of? And then it dawned on me what fear really is. Fear is nothing more than an uncertainty of the future. So it's always going to be there. It's the what if. It's the what if. It's the always playing the what if in your mind. Oh yeah, well I'm good now, but what if tomorrow I wake up? Oh yeah, everything's great now, but what if? And so I started learning that the thing that was driving my life was not the things that were certain. The things that were driving my life were the things that were uncertain. And somewhere in my 10 years old to 30 years old, 20 years of this, I flip-flopped that I lived by the things that were uncertain rather than the things that were certain. So instead of waking up going, but I'm not dead yet. I don't have a disease. I don't have cancer. My children aren't sick. My wife is in the other room. My bills are paid. Instead of just looking at the certainty, I have a good job. I have great friends. I had flipped the script that I was dwelling on the uncertainty. But Robin may be in the other room, but what if she leaves and ends a car wreck? My children may be healthy, but what if they get hurt out in the yard, or something goes wrong? Or, hey, I may be healthy, but there's no way you could be certain. What if my heart racing is a sign I've got a heart problem? So the one thing I started noticing about fear is that it was controlling the script of my life, but the script was I was reading a script of uncertainty, and the uncertainty controlled me. Rather than saying, I've gone to the hospital 30 times and nothing has ever happened. I've prayed for a ton of people, but I'm in the parking lot having a panic attack because I think something may happen to me. So I want to start there. I want to start with, what is your drip? All right, so today, what is the drip? What is the thing where he says to God in his prayer, Psalm 55, Lord, listen to my prayer and don't ignore, here it is, my cry for help, all right? So there's nothing wrong with saying I need help. There's nothing wrong with telling God you need help. And thank God my wife kind of shook me up that I knew I needed help. And the help I needed is I'd flip the script. So if you're listening today and you live in fear, fear your children, your health, your money, your future, your education, whatever it is, know this about fear. Fear is the validity of the uncertainty of the unknown. So it tries to validate the uncertainty of the unknown, and you just sit around trying to be certain of things you can't even be certain about, and you're afraid of those things. That's the beginning loop. So here's the question today. I'll put it in the bottom, in the bio, down at the bottom, all the questions you can begin to discuss. What is your drip? What is the thing that keeps going off in your head over and over and over, consistently playing like a record on repeat, a playlist that's on repeat? What is that? If we can identify the drip, we can start making headway to getting some hope. So today, Monday, identify the drip. What is the consistency of the unknown thing that repeats itself in your mind that brings you anxiety? Hang with me tomorrow. We'll just keep parsing this out. Read Psalm 55 today. We're going to pull it out all week long. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.